it's Carolyn and Michelle, aka LA Triathlete and Fuel My Run, and we're going off course.
What's up, sports fans? It's Michelle's segment. I'm not sure if Carolyn's starting this or me. I'm recording and editing my part. She's recording and editing her part, obviously. How would I record her part if we're apart? Anyway, but if I'm starting, hello. We're doing ours individually today, and then Carolyn will be hopping in because life has been crazy. Life has been crazy, and let me give you some updates. I really got to work on a more aesthetic background. If you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, I'm coming to you from a kitchen that's built in the 30s. I'm in St. Louis. So if you didn't listen to the last couple of episodes, I was in the process of moving to St. Louis. Basically, my boyfriend works for the soccer club here. He got a job at, what are they called? FC St. Louis. In Montreal, it was CF because it was like French. So I don't know. And if it's not called that, don't come for me. I just got here, okay? But basically all of January, he was waiting to get his visa, and we had stuff on the ground. We were living out of a suitcase for like a month, which was a pretty wild experience. One day, bam, he had to come. I joined him later. And so, yeah, I'm in St. Louis. I really don't know that much about Missouri. I was honestly thinking the other day, I'm like, wait, what state am I in again? Am I in Ohio? I really don't know much about this side of the country. So working on that. I'm a little bit off today. I'm not going to lie, because I accidentally bought pecan coffee. I'm sorry. If you like flavored coffee, you are a different breed of human. I think you probably have a thicker skin. Actually, I take that back. You don't have a thicker skin. I think you have weak skin. Just kidding. I don't know. But I don't know why I thought that pecan nutty, it was this local blend. Anyway, I'm really upset about it. And the entire kitchen smells like pecan. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. So my bowels are off. Just kidding. But yeah, I am all over the place, even though I kind of look put together right now because we're going to go get a car after this. But I have not been doing well, if I'm being honest with you guys. Napa, what are you crying at? Okay, for the record, Napa is just crying, wanting to go outside, play with the BALL, which she now knows how to spell because she's a Malinois and she's smart. But we just ran 7 miles, a couple miles at marathon race pace. It was kind of a progressive style run. And we just did 7 miles, and she's still in play mode. This dog, I think I've trained her to have too much energy. And I know all the dog people are like, you need to stimulate her brain. I get it. I know. But I just don't have something to stimulate her brain right now. So at least she's guard dogging at the moment. She like watches birds fly from one tree to another. But anyway, I'm not doing that well. I think moving, especially for this type of style of moving, I guess, I'm still new to it. Like I moved to Montreal for Dov's soccer. I met him when he was at Galaxy. And then he got a job here. And I've just been kind of going through some life stuff. And I don't know. I feel like I'm unclear with the direction of my life right now. I don't know if anyone else feels like that. I feel like if I would have just followed a typical road, like a lot of my friends do, where, you know, they find someone, they settle down, you know, they have kids, they get a house. I feel like I could have followed a more direct path that would have answered a lot of questions of how my life was going to go. But maybe because I'm a Sagittarius, but I just always kind of crave learning more, seeing more of the world, experiencing more. But now I just feel a little lost. And so I'm just saying that because if anyone else feels that way, I feel you. And I'm trying not to look at age because I know 30s is still young. Napa, ma'am, you just peed and pooped. You don't need anything outside. Come here. Come here. Here's Napa. You can't see her. But anyway, don't buy pecan coffee because I think that's throwing me off. So also for the type A people out there, I think I've already said this, but I have a gripe with what people think type A is. Type A is not necessarily like folding laundry and cleaning a house. I'm sorry. That is more OCD. And I do not have that side of the OCD spectrum. But I am unfortunately extremely type A. And when someone from Dov's Club booked my flight, to St. Louis. And they had to figure out how to book Napa too. And it was really confusing because, you know, she has to go in cargo and it's really cold outside and there's not many options. Even though I got her certified as an emotional support dog online, I spent like $100 on that. But I don't think that means anything. She doesn't get a vest. And honestly, she's barks at everyone. So I don't know how much emotional support for other people that would be. I don't think that's a point. But anyway, this dude books my flight. And I'm like, this seems odd because when I went to go check in, I wasn't supposed to be able to check in because I had Napa. I was able to check in. And I was like, that's sketch. I spoke to Dov and he's like, just show up at the airport. And I'm like, no, something in my gut is telling me this is wrong. So I called Air Canada. Great customer service. Thank you, Air Canada. They're like, yeah, you definitely do not have a dog going on that flight with you. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I don't have a dog? Her name is Napa. And they basically told me, yeah, whoever booked the flight did not confirm the dog size. We cannot fit her. And so I was on the phone with them for like a half an hour. Finally, we figured out a solution with a layover in Toronto, which I almost missed because my first flight was 45 minutes delayed. And if you saw my Instagram reel, how many people did? I had to sprint. And this is not the first, I think this is the third time we're on this podcast that I've talked about sprinting to a connecting flight. And honestly, I don't think I have it in me anymore. I think I lost a few years of my life with that sprint. It was like uphill. I had to go through customs and they're like, okay, sorry, ma'am, I have to check your papers. I'm like, you don't even need to check my papers because I'm going to miss my dog. She's going to be in Chicago without me. So that whole situation was very stressful, but I'm alive to tell the story. It was kind of annoying though, because we could only fly to Chicago, which is like a 5-hour drive. I don't know. I blacked out. I wasn't driving. By blackout, I mean I was doing emails in the car while Dov was driving. But it was just, yeah, I got to see a lot of the Midwest outside of Chicago. Also, okay, I've been in St. Louis for like less than a week. I've gone on a few runs, obviously. Why is it hilly? I'm actually not mad about it because I'm currently training for Big Sur, which climbs like more than 2,100 feet, I think, over the duration of the marathon. It's giving trail. But so I need hills in my training. And I actually like hills right now because I brainwashed myself into believing I do. But I'm just confused because I thought the Midwest was supposed to be flat. Maybe that's not a thing. I'm actually not sure. Maybe I should Google that. I also want to understand St. Louis a bit more too, in general. But anyway, so I'm here. Something that, okay. I feel funny. Sometimes I feel so funny talking about yoga because you have two sides of the spectrum when it comes to runners. Half of the runners are like, hell yeah, yoga, let's go. Or just like pro anything active that could complement running or just active in general. And then I feel like this is kind of an outdated mindset. You have the runners that are like, ew, yoga, that's dumb. Which I'm like, the more I think about it, the people who say that, well, one, either they're not flexible. My friend Kim actually doesn't like yoga because she's not very flexible. But I'm like, it doesn't matter how flexible you are. It's a personal thing. And it's very like good for the brain, but she still doesn't like it. You got that side of people. And then you have the people who just don't get it at all. And they're like, it's not even a good workout. I'm like, okay, it depends on the kind of yoga you do, but I digress. But I had the realization the other day at the ripe age of 34 about, you know, when you're signing up for a yoga class and it's like, yoga sculpt, whatever yoga, whatever. And then later on in the day, it's like a yoga workshop. And I thought the only people that was taking the workshop classes were the people who wanted to be a yoga instructor. But last night, I was doing some deep thinking, deep thoughts about random stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure those yoga workshops are for people who want to get better at yoga. And I had the realization after realizing I have done yoga on and off for 15 years, which makes me sound old. But I've just been doing it since I started college, you know? So I'm like, oh my God, hot yoga, like so cool. But I brainwashed myself into liking it. And I can also meditate a little bit now too, which I'm very proud about. It's very hard to do with a dog though. So I can only really do it in a yoga class, which only lasts for like a few minutes after the class. Okay, let me get back to the point. Yoga workshops are to get better at yoga. And I was like, I've been doing yoga for so long and I have never once, okay, that's not true. I have thought to improve, but I haven't gone out of my way to like watch a YouTube video on how to hold certain poses that I just don't know. And then I got really mad at myself. I'm like, I've been doing this for 15 years. Why have I not tried to get better? So now I think because every episode I have this like deep realization that just a lot of realizing I'm realizing. Sorry. But I had this realization that I want to better myself. I want to learn more things. I want to experience more things. God, my sad just showing so hard. Don't think about that too much. Why am I not improving on things that I've been doing for so many years of my life? You know, I think I got so caught in Montreal with trying to learn French, and my teacher, Dove, was not great. He just didn't want to do it with me. He didn't want to practice, and it hurt my feelings. And language has always been more difficult for me to learn. I was about to get a B one semester in high school, and I think I wrote a paper to get an A. I also did that in my sculpture class. God, I was such a teacher's pet. But I just really want to get better at the things that I already do. Because when I was learning French and I was having a hard time, I just stopped learning altogether outside of that because I was so mad at myself for not getting better with French. And I realized I could just take small steps of the things that I'm doing now to progress. So if there's something that you've been doing, maybe it's running, maybe it's cycling, maybe it's, like literally anything that you've been doing for years of your life, maybe this is a sign to take it a step further and get a little bit better at that. Also, if you can see my nails, they've seen such better days. I just bought this one thing online for the nail people out there. And it's like a little okay, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's this like add-on to your nails. And it's like no UV light, and it's not like a fake nail. And you just gonna okay, I'll follow up next episode on it. But I'm really excited to try it out, except for I have to grow my nails out like at least a week or two longer. That was terrible. I'm sorry for the lack of detail there. Anyway, I am going to find a yoga class, and I'm realizing that moving here, kind of circling back to the beginning of what I was talking about, but moving here, I feel kind of lost with the direction of my life. And I'm realizing that the theme of my part of the episode is called realization. But I'm realizing that I keep looking for happiness, but happiness is created by creating it. And I have to find friends. I have to find workshops. I have to put myself out there to experience things, because happiness is not just going to come out of my body as I'm watching Netflix. That's not true. Sometimes it does. But I'm going to get a little stir crazy if that's all I do, And especially being away from friends and just my normal routine of, being in Southern California or whatever it is. It is so, and everyone talks about this, it is so hard to make friends. And the only way to do it is just to put yourself out there. And I have this problem. I don't know if anyone else feels like this, but I don't want to impede on someone's routine or life, or I just don't want to bother anybody. So, I love to hang out on a couch and chill out, gossip, have a glass of wine, do little things like that. I love to go out and experience restaurants and, live music or whatever. But I don't want someone to think that they have to invite me, or I don't want to ruin the dynamic of a group, because I get it. I understand how nice it is to have a set group of friends, and sometimes letting an outsider in is kind of weird. And I had a weird experience in California recently when I was still there. I had met, it was a friend of a friend. I met this girl in San Diego, loved her. She ended up moving up north. And I just she introduced me to her friend who was moving to Long Beach, and I didn't click with her at the level that I thought I would. Our personalities were really similar, the girl that I thought I would click with. But sometimes, and for the extroverts out there, I don't know if you get this, it's harder for me to click with an extrovert than it is for me to click with an introvert. Maybe surface level clicking with an extrovert, of course, you can banter, but with alone hangouts, I prefer introverts a lot of the time. With Carolyn and I don't see each other in person very often. Obviously we click, but all of my like best friends are introverts. But anyway, I miss like a big group too. I don't need just a one-on-one hang. I don't want to ruin the vibe though. That's like my biggest fear. And so especially like trying to click with the girl I was just referring to. And then she introduced me to her friends and I feel like I just didn't click with the group. And I feel like I click with most people in most groups and I'm pretty good at kind of like forming into whatever the group needs. But then it makes me realize at the end of the day, like I just want to be myself for better, for worse, and just not have anyone judge me. Like I don't want to have to put on a performance, which I feel like I do a lot of the time. I'm just like, who can I get to laugh now? Or like, who can I like, I don't know, or who can I bond with and connect with? And sometimes I just want to be myself. Not like that's not me, but I don't know. I don't want to have to be this perfect friend. Like, I think friendships are so special because friends will like you for the good and for the bad, or like, you know, not everyone has only good qualities. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just a little self-conscious in my 30s trying to make new friends. So I am meeting up with a couple of people this week though. Hopefully they don't listen to this, kind of embarrassing. But I met a girl, her, I guess husband works for the club too. He's the goalkeeper coach. I'm giving too many specifics, but we're going to a Pilates class. Actually, Legree, the hard one, the one where I was like, yes, the class that makes you want to throw up kind of, and you're shaking instantly when you start it. So we're doing that. I'm also going to lunch with a friend one day this week. And I'm trying to just kind of book like 1 to 2 activities a day, whether it's going to the store and getting food, going on a run. I'm going to try to go on a run with this run club. This girl on Instagram hit me up. She started a couple run clubs in St. Louis. And so I definitely need to go to that. But I don't know if it's a fear of rejection of not like fitting in, or I don't know. I don't have too much of a fear of rejection. The more I think about it, I have a fear of not meeting my people anymore. I had the best friends in high school. I've made some really good friends like around college years too, and after college. I've always kind of had a group or just people. And I just want to find people where I feel comfortable with. You know when you meet somebody and you're just like, oh yeah, I could be myself right now. Oh, I could just be goofy. Like I want to get below that surface level conversation and instantly feel like, oh, like I can take a deep breath. And once I can take that deep breath, I think life is going to be a lot better. I also need to figure out some other things in life that I don't really feel comfortable talking about on the podcast. So we'll see. I feel like that was more life updates than I've given in a long time. And I wanted to dive more into Surf City Marathon because that just happened. And I had some like thoughts on that race and stuff. If you ran that race, let us know on Instagram. I need to check the DMs. But yeah, life is moving, you know? Anyway, I need to do some more work and then we're going to a dealership tonight. I think Dov is getting a car. I don't know I'm still trying to figure out where I want to live. If I'm going to stay here, if I'm going to move. So I don't want to buy a car yet, but I think I'll see. I don't know. I guess I just need to look put together for the dealership and we'll see. That's all I have, folks. I hope you're realizing the realization is internal. Just kidding. I don't know. Take whatever takeaway you want. But if this is the end of the podcast, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Hi guys. Okay, so I'm sure Michelle, she did the intro, so you already know we weren't able to get our schedules to sync up, which rarely happens. We can usually find a little block of time, but we decided to each record individually. So I think that her segment's going to be first. But if not, hi guys, welcome to this episode. Like I said, we're each recording separately. She's had a chaotic week moving to St. Louis, and I have been booked and busy all weekend. It's kind of insane. I'm actually wearing makeup and did my hair today. If you guys are watching the podcast, I usually look disgusting. I kind of look cute today. I'm excited. I have a very weird event that I'm going to. I'll talk about that in a second. But yesterday I went down to San Diego to a golf tournament. It was like a PGA golf tournament. Golf tournaments are actually really fun. This is like the second or third one I've been to. It's just like peaceful and you can get really close to the athletes, and the weather was like perfect in San Diego. And then I didn't do any workouts yesterday too, which was like kind of magical, even though I did have to get up at like 5:30 so we could drive down there. But I did have a trail workout planned for today. And I wanted to go with my friend Phil because he's like the ultimate trail runner, knows all the routes. So I texted him like on Friday and I was like, hey, like, do you want to go for a trail run? And he's like, yeah, here's the route. Meet here at 6:30. And I was like, AM? AM in the morning on a Sunday. Usually on Sundays, I sleep until I naturally wake up, which of course is like 7:30. It's really not that late. But, and then I kind of just get up and go whenever I feel like it, which honestly, kind of glad today I was like, I'm obviously motivated to get up early when I'm meeting someone. I can't just ditch them. It's actually very hot here today. I think that it's like in the 80s. So if I had waited to do my run, I would have regretted it. We literally did a 2.5 hour trail run and finished by like 10. I was like, it's 10 and I'm done. This is crazy. And then I brought my stuff to swim after and I was like, should I swim? And then I was like, girl, what else are you doing? You know, we got all day. So yeah, I swam and then rushed home, cleaned the bathroom. Very exciting. That is a weekend activity. It's just always covered in my hair. And then we, so yeah, made lunch. Well, I was like lazy. Sometimes I like sit on the couch and then I start scrolling and then I'm like, I really have somewhere to be. Like I need to get up. I need to clean the bathroom. I need to get ready and I need to record the podcast. So guys, where I'm going today, this is the weirdest. This girl that I'm friends with named Kelsey on Instagram, she lives in Santa Monica, fellow triathlete. She is in marketing. I'm actually not completely sure of her tie to this event, but I think she's helping plan it. And so she DM'd me and was like, hey girl, we've got this event going on. Do you want to be a part of it? And I had to say yes because she's like, it's a celebrity chess tournament. It's like celebrity / influencers. And so basically this guy who's running for the California Insurance Commissioner or something, he's a Democrat, so we love. And I guess I don't know. So the chess tournament, he's like grandmaster in chess, if that's what it's called. And he but he loves chess apparently. And so she like DM'd me and she's like, do you want to come to this thing? And I was like, do I have to play chess? Because I don't know how to play chess, guys. Okay, maybe I should learn. And I was like, can I come and watch? And she's like, yeah, girl. And I was like, I'm there. So she sent me the list of people that are coming. There's a few influencers who I don't think that I've heard of, but like maybe. So two of the celebrities I'm most excited about are one of the Property Brothers and then Toby, the guy who played Toby from The Office. So I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking there. Okay, what else am I doing? You know, I'm going to be a spectator. I will not be partaking in the chess, thank God. And then Jordan's coming too, which is amazing because he was like kind of on the fence about it. And then I'm like, what are you doing today? You know, let's go do something fun. So anyway, that's where we're headed after this. I will have to update next week on how it went. But I feel like I've just been like, I just burped, getting invited to like the coolest and weirdest things lately. So I got to go on Wednesday. I posted about it on my Instagram, so you already saw it. But basically, Hoka did a launch party for the launch of their new Cielo X1 3.0. You guys already know that that's my race shoe. And I don't know. I just got this like random email, and they're like, hey, do you want to come to this event at this warehouse? And it's like, I don't know if it's a warehouse, but it was a really cool like event space in the fashion district in downtown LA. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I could get murdered, but like it's worth checking out because I was like, I don't know who this person is, their credentials. I don't know who's going. I don't know what, like, I knew nothing. I knew the time and the location and that there would be valet parking, but no other information. And I was like, could die, you know? So anyway, I went to this and I don't know, I'm outgoing, but like, I don't know. I'm low key a little awkward when I'm going to an event where I don't know anyone, and Jordan didn't come with me. But anyway, I walked in and I immediately saw someone I knew, my friend Darcy. And I was like, hey girl, cool. I feel comfortable already. So we walked in and I got like a swag bag. Oh my gosh, it was so fucking good. So I got a pair of the Cielos, which I was literally about to buy. I didn't even know they were launching these so soon. And I was about to buy a new pair of carbon plated shoes. So I was like, yeah, girl. And then I got a pair of shorts, which I ran in today, and I'm obsessed. These Hoka shorts are amazing. I also there was like a hat, which I broke before my run today. I had 2 wardrobe malfunctions. I tried to pull the tag off because I had a tag on it because it's a new hat. And I pulled the entire, like the band that goes, in the back of your head to adjust it. I ripped that whole fucking thing out. So I need someone to like sew it back in. And then I was leaving for the run and I was trying to zip my vest pocket and it's literally disintegrated from just like sweat and water and like sticky drink mix. And I went to pull the zipper up and rip the entire zipper off. And that's like it's like a Solomon. So I'm like, maybe I can email them and get a new one. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, it was like 6 swag bags. It was so cool. And then they had and then I saw even more people I knew from like Pasadena. And I was like, oh my God, how fun. And then they had a room with treadmills so you could like try out the shoes. So I tried out the shoes. And if you ran on the treadmill, you got a free gift bag. And I was like, not going to lie. I had 2 they were small margaritas, guys. Very small, like a shot. And then a giant ice cube, like a Hoka branded ice cube in the drink. But I had 2 little margaritas and I was like low key kind of drunk. I'm not going to lie. I was like, this is crazy. But anyway, I was like running on the treadmill and I got my free gift bag and it came with like shocks. And then there were a couple other things in there. But like, I was like, I already have like 7 pairs of shocks because I've worked with them so many times. And so I was feeling generous and a little drunk. And I was like, does anyone want my headphones? And this guy walked up who I don't know. And he's like, oh my God, I'll take them. And then I was like, here you go. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, fuck, I should have given away, done a giveaway on the podcast with them or on Instagram. So like, what can I say, guys? I'm just so generous. But yeah, anyway, it was a really cool event. I love the shoes. They do feel pretty similar to if you have already worn the Cielo X1 2.0. Very similar, which I am not complaining about. Like I said, that's my race shoe. So I'm very excited. They're like lime green. Woo, I can't wait to race in them. I guess that'll be Oceanside. It'll probably be like the next time I do like a race. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest update other than this weird event that I'm going to tonight. And I can't wait to update you guys on it later. So anyway, I'm going to grab my phone. Hold on. Okay, I have about 10 to 15 more minutes I can yap before I need to go. First of all, guys, I hate spiders. I had a very traumatic experience, but I think that this indicates growth. So last night we got into bed. I was so exhausted, from my day in San Diego. And I was like, oh, we got all, snuggled in. I had my contacts and my glasses off, nothing in my eyeballs. And I go to like look at Jordan and the spider is so big. I can see it across the bedroom without my fucking glasses on. And I'm like, what is that? Turn the light back on. So Jordan turns the light on. I put my glasses on, look up. It's a sure as shit. It is a big boy spider. And I don't get up to inspect because I think that if I had gotten close to it, that would have scared me more. And I was like, you know what? We're both snuggled in bed, comfortable. The spider really isn't bothering. I mean, it's bothering me, but I'm too tired to care. And I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep and ignore, pretend like I never saw it, because listen, I am empathetic and I don't know. Jordan is like, he's changed me because before I'd be like, kill that motherfucker. But Jordan's like, he's just a little guy. He's not hurting anyone. And I'm like, okay, you're right. He's just trying to live his life. Like I'm trying to live my life. And I'm probably like 40 million times the size of him. So I was like, okay, he'll probably just crawl away and hide somewhere. But then I kept picturing, I'm like, what if I have to pee in the middle of the night? And he's like, because it was above the bedroom door kind of. And I'm like, what if he's like dangling from his web and I walk into him? But did not happen. And I mean, no spiders in sight right now. So I'm recording in the bedroom. I'm being very brave, guys. But I do think that this indicates growth because I didn't cry and I didn't force Jordan to get out of bed and like at least capture it. Usually he just captures it and put it outside. But so we're living with a spider right now and we're moving on. We're living life. So I asked on Instagram, there was a question box that I had you guys ask some questions. We got a few. I won't have too much time to answer them, but let's see. We got some good ones per usual. So here we go. Okay, I'm definitely not gonna get to all these, so I'm so sorry. So Haley, shout out to Haley, asked, she knows the answer to this, but the ride gone poorly that you can laugh about now. So one time, yeah, this was traumatic. It's probably there's a few, but we did this ride. I think I've talked about it on this. I have Circle of Doom. It's like 100 miles, 10,000 feet of climbing. It's a doozy, all up in the mountains. In Los Angeles, it's hot. It gets hot in the summer, obviously. But like in the mountains, you would think, oh, I'm going higher in elevation. The weather gets colder. No, not in the summer. That shit is hotter than hell. It's hotter up there. There's like a lot of trees, but not really, the road's not really shady. It's just like exposed. So we had this grand idea, not this summer, but the summer before. I just wanted to do it. I love that route. I can't do it now because the entire Highway 2 just, it's gone. After all that rain we got, the whole fucking highway just like collapsed. So it's going to be a long time before I can do that ride again, which is sad. But anyway, so we decided, I think it was either end of July or early August. I can't remember the date. I think it was July. And I had this grand idea. I was like, we should do Circle of Doom, guys. And Haley was like, I don't know about that. It's going to be like 100 tomorrow. And I was like, so we kept going back and forth. And I was just like, here's the big dilemma with that ride is that there isn't water. So you obviously bring your bottles. And then if you do start like in Pasadena, that's where we usually start. And then we ride to the base of Highway 39 and there is water there. But then once you start the climb to Crystal Lake, which is a 22-mile climb, and it is one of the hardest climbs ever. It's very inconsistent grade, hard to get into a rhythm, some very, very steep. Like, I think it's like, I don't even know. It might even average like 8%. It's really hard. So you get to the top of Crystal Lake, and then to continue on to do Circle of Doom, you can either go straight, or if you turn right, it takes you to Crystal Lake Cafe, which is another 2 miles, and it's a lot more climbing. And obviously, it's like, okay, well, we have to go to the cafe because there's water at the cafe, so we have to go fill. So whatever. There is water there, and there is also a waterfall on the way up. People fill their bottles at the waterfall. I'm a little sussed out by that. Okay. I know what's in that water. I'm not trying to, if there's like a deer shit in that fucking water upstream, I don't want to get Giardia. Okay. So anyway, there's water there. And then between Crystal Lake Cafe and Red Box, nothing. There's campgrounds. A lot of them don't have the water turned on. I don't know why. It's the summer. What are we doing? And I forget, between Crystal Lake and Red Box is like 50 miles, I think, with like 5,000 more, like the rest of the climbing, like it's 4,000 to 5,000 feet of climbing. So Haley's like, someone should go up there. Maybe someone should stash water. Like, we're trying to come up with this plan. And I was like, it'll be fine. So yeah, it was really hot. We got to Crystal Lake, and then Haley was like, we could just turn back, descend, and go home. And I was like, we could, but we're already almost done. We weren't almost done. We weren't even close. We still had over half the ride. And we continued on our journey, and we started going down the 2, which between Crystal Lake and Red Box, and we were dying. I was getting the worst hot spots on my feet. If you've ever had hot spots, it's like one of the most miserable experiences on the bike or running, honestly. But like, it happens. I feel like cycling shoes are more stiff and narrow, and your feet swell when you're working out, and your feet swell when they're hot. And I was dying. My feet hurt so fucking bad. And there was a campground that we were like, let's just see if there's water. So we pull into the road, and there's actually like an office there. I forget, it's like a Forest Service office or something. So Haley and Joey go inside. There's people working. I believe it was air conditioned. And she's like, I'm begging you, do you guys have any water? Which obviously they have water because they're employees. They're in the middle of the mountains. They need water up there. Like, and they're like, no, sorry. Ooh, that was rude. So I'm like sitting at the pull off to the road for the campsite. And I was like, you guys just go ahead. I'm dying. Took my shoes off, just trying to let my feet like relax for a minute. And then Haley and Joe come back out, and they're like, we're going to go further into the campsite and see if we can find any campers who might have water. And I was like, okay, more power to you. I'm going to sit here. I was sitting there for so long. I thought I was going to get murdered because there's no one up there. This is like deep, deep, deep. Like, to drive up there, you literally have to be like, I don't even know where you'd be going. There's not even a reason to go up there unless you're like going to a very far location to hike, which it was too hot to hike, or if like you're skiing, which obviously they weren't. So there's like not many cars. So I'm like, if someone pulled up and just wanted to kidnap me, they could. I sat there for so long. Luckily, Haley, they found someone, I guess, a camper who did have water, and they had taken my bottles too. So they filled our bottles back up. They filled my bottles up too. So by the time we filled our bottles, and then we, started the horrible, miserable ride back. Meanwhile, it's like 2 in the afternoon. We've been riding for hours. It's just like peak heat. But we're almost to the descent because once you get to the red box, it's mostly just downhill. I had no no power left. Like Haley and her ex had to leave us behind because they had dinner plans and they're like, we're not going to make a reservation if we ride as slow as Carolyn. And I was like, fair. See you guys later. So anyway, they dipped. And then I put down like 5 watts until I got back to my apartment. Anyway, that was probably the worst ride of my life for all of us, I would say. And very traumatic. And it was a terrible idea. So don't listen to me when I have ideas ever, guys. I just, once I get something in my head like that, I'm like determined to make it happen. I can laugh about it now because I survived. I guess that's it. Gosh, guys, I have like 8 minutes before I need to leave. So, damn. Well, that's the fun story about Circle of Doom. I feel like that's all I'm going to be able to cover today. Sorry, guys. I'll save these questions for later, though, and we'll get to them in another episode. Screenshot. Perfect. So, yeah, if you have more questions, obviously, like, send us a DM. We're happy to answer any triathlon or running questions. And I'm sorry that this was such a short and chaotic episode today, but we'll get back on our normal schedule next week. So, anyway, I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. And until next time, I and Michelle will see you next Tuesday. Bye.